In my recent video, Non-Furry Animals Are Exploited on YouTube, I signaled my move away from an almost exclusively dog-related content towards future content that will be critical of cruelty, lack of compassion, and lack of concern for animals in general. The dog is the pet animal with the greatest impact on our daily lives, creating unnecessary danger, noise, pollution, cost, and intrusion. It is the pet animal with the most vocal and oppressive supporters, and it is the pet animal above all others that has myths, propaganda, slogans, misinformation, and downright lies associated with it. That is why I have tended to concentrate on dogs in the past. I explained in my video, I Don't Hate Dogs and Cats, why I am convinced that pursuing a dog hate agenda is futile and counterproductive. One thing that I didn't mention in that video is that pursuing such an agenda does not address the problems associated with any kind of pet keeping. In the extremely unlikely situation of dog haters ending the hobby and practice of dog keeping, the thinking behind dog keeping will still be with us, and it is likely that we will continue to have our lives blighted by some other form of pet keeping. Dog hatred doesn't address or change the human thinking behind dog keeping, and it does not address the issue of animal welfare. These are two of the essential issues that need to be addressed if we are to achieve the 25% tipping point for social change that I discussed in my Non-Furry Animals video. I believe that animal welfare is the most likely route to ending the dreadful tyranny of dog owners. I intend to discuss more animal welfare issues in my future videos, but in this one, I want to discuss an aspect of the human psyche that acts as a barrier to positive change. Recently, in my community section, Jim C., one of my regular and longtime viewers, made a comment about dogs being the only animals that are entitled to due legal process after killing a human. He concluded his comment by stating the following: "All of this illustrates the power of the stupid. It is impossible to argue against the power of group stupidity. So, most authorities don't try. They give in to the power of the stupid and allow dogs to kill with impunity." My response to his comment was, I think I will make a video about stupidity. Carlo M. Cipolla, a professor of economic history at California University, Berkeley, proposed that there are 5 basic laws of stupidity. In his introduction, he made the following observation, quote, "The stupid ones are more fearsome than mafia, the military-industrial complex, or the Communist International. They're an unorganized group without a leader or norm, but in spite of that, they act in perfect harmony as guided by an invisible hand. With a smile on his lips, as if he were doing the most natural thing in the world, the stupid will appear on the spur of the moment to spoil your plans, destroy your peace, complicate your life and work, make you lose money, time, good humor, productivity, and all this without malice, without remorse, and without reason, stupidly." End quote. When large numbers of people behave stupidly, they can appear to be organized, even appearing as if they are members of some type of cult. This has been discussed on this channel before. One of the things about stupidity is that the stupid person is operating within limited options. Stupid ideas are accepted without question or criticism. When someone writes a piece about dead dogs crossing a rainbow bridge to a celestial meadow above the stars, waiting for their owner to join them, stupid people will buy into this idea. They will read it and think it sounds reasonable. They will agree with it and want to spread it as if it is philosophical gold. They will then defend this stupidity, believing that the non-believers do not have enough intelligence to understand the truth. There's no great organization. Stupid people transmit stupid ideas. The idea that dog is God backwards sounds profound to them. They absorb this nonsense and treat it with a solemnity it does not deserve. Dog worship may appear to be a cult, but it is just a lot of stupid people being stupid. This might be hard to believe because most of us hold to the idea that stupidity is unusual, occasional, and marginalized. Most of us equate stupidity with lack of intelligence. And because we believe ourselves to be of average intelligence or above, we get fooled by stupidity all of the time. Most times, we don't recognize it for what it is. This brings us to the first law of stupidity, which is always and inevitably, everyone underestimates the number of stupid individuals in circulation. They are out there in vast numbers. They are governing us. They are advising us. They are teaching our children. We can all be stupid. The second law covers this concept. The probability that a certain person be stupid is independent of any other characteristic of that person. It is difficult to predict how stupid a person may be or is going to be. Anybody can be stupid, and stupidity exists in equal proportions in all of society. Someone can be a Nobel Prize winner and be stupid. They can be an Olympic gold medalist and be stupid. They can be a quantum physicist or a neurosurgeon, and their intelligence or their achievements in life will not predict their level of stupidity. Heather Butler, quoted in The Psychology of Stupidity by Jean-François Marmion, explains why smart people are capable of believing in or saying foolish things. She contrasts critical thinking with intelligence and writes, quote, "Critical thinking is not intelligence. Critical thinking is a collection of cognitive skills that allow us to think rationally in a goal-oriented fashion and a disposition to use those skills when appropriate. Critical thinkers are flexible thinkers who require evidence to support their beliefs and who recognize fallacious attempts to persuade them. Critical thinking means overcoming all kinds of cognitive biases, for instance, hindsight bias or confirmation bias." End quote. This makes it easier to understand why even very intelligent people sometimes believe bizarre things. A few years before he died in exile from Nazism, the Austrian novelist Robert Musil delivered a lecture in Vienna called On Stupidity in 1937. He said that stupidity was not mere dumbness, not a brute lack of processing power. Stupidity was something very different and much more dangerous. Dangerous precisely because some of the smartest people, the least dumb, were often the most stupid. One article I read some time ago about the dog is God backwards belief was written by someone who was at great pains to point out their intellectual and academic credentials. They were very excited about this fantastic awareness that they had access to, and told the readers that it was a genuine insight because they had a PhD and had authored many scientific articles. The thinking there was that they are smart, so they couldn't be simultaneously stupid. The bad news is that people can be both smart and stupid. In my video, The Knowledge of Ignorance, I discussed one article in Psychology Today by Stanley Coren, who is the author of Canine Corner, a regular spot in the magazine. At the top left corner of Canine Corner, there's a photo of Stanley, and underneath that is his name, along with his qualifications of PhD, DSc, and FRSC. He is obviously one smart cookie, but he is willing to believe almost anything about dogs as long as it is positive. In an article about dogs on the Titanic, he repeats inventions about dog heroics and emotional stories that have no scientific validity. The letters after his name have little connection with his beliefs about dogs, but because he has these letters, we are willing to accept his writing as quality stuff. This happens all of the time with appeals to authority and appeals to popularity. Because someone is famous or has achieved a lot in life does not mean that all of their opinions are valid. They can hold some very stupid beliefs, but because they are famous, people uncritically assume that they have knowledge or expertise and are to be believed without question. In my video, How Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Sir Patrick Stewart Broke My Heart, I discussed Sir Patrick Stewart's views on breed-specific legislation, specifically in relation to pit bulls. His views got a considerable amount of column inches in newspapers and many screen hours on TV and social media platforms. The stupid person looks at this and thinks that his views must be worthwhile because he captained a starship for part of his life, so he can't possibly be stupid. The critical thinker asks questions about his knowledge base, his authority, and whether or not he has any vested interests. It doesn't take much investigation to find out that he has a pit bull in the USA that he claims to have fostered, and he wants to take it to England with him, where its presence is against the law. This removes him from the role of independent observer. I have spoken a bit about stupidity, but I have not clarified what is meant by the word. I have said that it does not equate with lack of intelligence, but rather with lack of critical thinking. Chipola's third law makes things a bit clearer. That is, a stupid person is a person who causes losses to another person or to a group of persons while himself deriving no gain and even possibly incurring losses. Someone whose actions incur a gain for them and for us can be classified as intelligent. Someone who gains for themselves but causes losses for others can be classified as a bandit. Someone who produces a gain for others while incurring a loss for themselves can be classified as helpless. This model suggests that people can be intelligent, a bandit, helpless, or stupid. It is important to point out that people are not uniform or consistent in their behavior. Some people are stupid most of the time and in most circumstances, while others are just occasionally stupid. People who choose stupidity as a way of life are very confusing for the rest of humanity. They are dangerous and damaging because the rational person will find it difficult to understand unreasonable behavior. The logic of a bandit can be understood because the bandit is attempting to benefit themselves by their behavior. The helpless person may be more difficult to understand, but they can be seen as attempting to help others. The erratic behavior of the stupid person makes them impossible to reason with and impossible to reply to with a counter-argument that they would be able to comprehend and respond to rationally. How often are we knocked off balance by the irrational behavior of some dog worshippers? I don't want to go into examples, but I have spoken at length about the irrational thinking and behavior of dog worshippers. See my videos, Deceptive Claims, Misleading Headlines, Flat-Out Lies, and Dog Cult Tactics, and The Futility of Arguing with Dog Worshippers, and others. The German playwright Friedrich von Schiller wrote in The Maid of Orleans, "Against stupidity, the very gods fight in vain." This is why I do not enter into arguments with the pro-dog stupidity that assails me on my channel. It is pointless. As the fourth law tells us, mixing with stupid people is always a mistake. Non-stupid people always underestimate the damaging power of stupid individuals. In particular, non-stupid people constantly forget that at all times and places, and under any circumstances, to deal and or associate with stupid people infallibly turns out to be a costly mistake. It is tempting to confuse stupidity and helplessness. A helpless person will do harm to themselves. A stupid person will do harm to themselves and others. The fifth law outlines something that I said earlier, that stupidity is dangerous. A stupid person is the most dangerous type of person. A stupid person is more dangerous than a bandit. Sasha Golob, a reader in philosophy at King's College London, writes that stupidity has two features that make it dangerous. First of all, stupidity is a property of groups or traditions, not individuals. Once stupidity has taken hold in a society, it is difficult to eradicate it. Introducing new concepts into society involves a battle against entrenched stupidity and is a tough task. We live in a society in which people believe extraordinary things about dogs, beliefs that have no scientific basis and are devoid of proof. These ideas are supported by memes, slogans, catchphrases, mythology, and folklore. These slogans chime with the stupid dog worshippers. They are in line with how they see the world. The idea that a predatory carnivore loves humans unconditionally is stupid, but it is supported by group stupidity and is widely held to be true. Again, I do not want to go on with a list, but the beliefs about dogs generally held in our society are all stupid. They are all false, and they are all going to be difficult to eradicate because of their stupidity. The second feature of stupidity is that stupidity begets stupidity. It is very influential and can be very persuasive. The rational person considers stupid ideas and is confused as to why people fall for them. The blind acceptance of harmful irrationality is confusing and bewildering, but stupidity is a very effective means of transmitting a simple idea. Politicians appeal to it by the use of simple slogans that often don't mean very much, but appeal to the emotions, circumventing the critical faculties. The German pastor Dietrich Bonhoeffer was executed in Flossenburg concentration camp a mere 14 days before the camp was liberated by US troops. This is what he wrote about stupidity. Quote, "Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice. One may protest against evil. It can be exposed and, if need be, prevented by use of force. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protests nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. Facts that contradict one's prejudgment simply need not be believed. In such moments, the stupid person even becomes critical, and when facts are irrefutable, they are just pushed aside as inconsequential, as incidental. In all this, the stupid person, in contrast to the malicious one, is utterly self-satisfied and, being easily irritated, becomes dangerous by going on the attack. For that reason, greater caution is called for when dealing with a stupid person than with a malicious one. Never again will we try to persuade the stupid person with reasons, for it is senseless and dangerous." End quote. The lessons here are that stupidity exists at all levels of intelligence and in all sectors of society. It is dangerous, and there is no defense against it. We tend to overlook or dismiss stupidity because we think that it is trivial and of little account. We make the mistake of perceiving it as a quality of an individual, like a character flaw, when it is, in fact, a feature of our society. It is easy dismissing someone who is making very silly and foolish comments about dogs, or is acting in an antisocial or intrusive manner with their dog. We have to remember that behind each of these individuals are oceans of stupidity, informing and supporting their irrationality. Foolish and stupid ideas about dogs are invented and sustained by the society we live in. We live in a society in which mainstream beliefs about dogs include we don't deserve them, dogs are man's best friend, dogs love us, and dogs are gentle and sweet. These ideas are stupid, but they are held by a very significant percentage of society in varying degrees of commitment. We shouldn't take this level of stupidity too lightly, and we, unfortunately, should not underestimate how difficult it will be to change these beliefs. One starting point is to stop accepting them ourselves. When we see someone treating a dog as a child, for example, then we recognize this for the stupidity that it is. And if the occasion is appropriate, we say so. It is important that we don't get sucked into the morass of stupidity. That's the only way to make the future pet-free.